If we could address you directly right now.
Everything comes full circle.
That's number one.
I don't tell him what questions to ask me.
There are a lot of people around town that have the same question.
Brush my teeth. I'm gonna get washed in the morning.
I can't confirm or deny.
You know, just keep going a little bit longer here, Mike. Keep going a little bit longer.
What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday. It's 11 o'clock, so you know what time it is. It's time for the Etan and Devo show. I got to real quick. I got to shout out my fiance. You see what the back looks like now. It's not. It's usually just a blank wall that I go with, but now. So she was like, I'm tired of seeing just a white wall in the back. So we're gonna add a little. We're gonna add a bookshelf. We're gonna add a little plant, and we're gonna put your diploma.
Yeah, got domesticated.
I feel a little bit more confident.
Congrats to you, though. Hey, big congrats to you, though. I saw it on social media, and I told you already, big congrats. You got a little son coming and on your engagement and everything. Big congrats. Happy for you.
I appreciate you. It's it's a lot going on, man. A lot going on in a short amount of time. So, I got a fiance now, and I got a little boy coming. So, some more time in the gym coming up real soon, man.
That's great. That's great. The fun begins.
The fun begins. So, let's let's start it off talking about the transfer portal. We saw three guys put their name in from Cuse, and we know it was going to be like this. We saw a lot of fans' reactions, and when you read some of the reactions, it's like, oh man, we're not even going to have a team anymore. What are we going to do? But calm down. Like, this is how it goes. Like, this is the landscape. We knew this was going to happen. And just to be honest, I think that really these guys were, I don't want to say pushed out, but it was like, hey, we have to move on. You know what I mean? And that was kind of the case, especially if you're trying to go get a guy, a point guard and a big time center out of the transfer portal. It's going to be $1 to $2 million each for those guys, just how it is. So just in like NBA free agency, you got to create cap space, right? With no salary cap.
Yeah. No, that's 100% accurate, and so, yeah, it's tough. I kind of figured some guys would leave. Chris Bell, Elijah Moore, Kyle Cuff. I really wish them all the best. And it's interesting because we talked a little bit about this over the weekend. I remember a lot of the fans and some of the media as well, almost like thumbing their noses at Quadir when he left for McNeese. I said thumbing their noses. Okay, I don't want to sound like an old grandpa. Let me say it again. They low key was hitting on him. You know what I mean? Yeah, good Lord, I sound like an old grandpa. But what I'm saying is they were really like talking bad about them because they went to a lower caliber school. Talking about Quadir, and it was great to see him playing well this weekend. Like, I was happy for him. That first game against Clemson, he was shining. Like, he was out there enthusiastic like he was when he was here and, hyping up the crowd and, playing with a lot of emotion. He had a great stat line. So, I say that to say, to these guys, I really, no matter what you'll hear these past, these next few days from the, Syracuse fans or the media or whoever else, just go out there and ball out. You know what I mean? Wherever you land, wherever you go, it's always Cuse love. So go out there and just do your thing, and we'll be here praising you and happy for you. If y'all in the tournament next year and doing well like Quadir was.
And you want to do that. You never want to bash the players. Look, I understand it's a different landscape now. These guys are getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in some cases millions of dollars. So, okay, you feel like you can critique a little bit more. I understand it. It's part of the. But you never want to wish bad on any of these kids, any of these players. It's a business now. It's always been a business, but now it's even more of a business, right? And I said a while ago, I think a lot of the times maybe the fans or some people feel some type of way because these guys are getting paid a lot of money. A lot of money to play basketball. 18 years old, you're getting $1 million in your account. I mean, that's a lot of money. So you could feel whatever way you want, but don't bash these kids. It's not their fault. That's just how it is. That's what the landscape is now. And I think a lot of the fans, they don't know the inside scoop, or they don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Why are they leaving? Like, what's the specific reasons why are they leaving? A lot of the times, just like we said in the beginning, it's to remove these guys so they can afford to get a big time player coming in, right? Yeah. You talk about Chris Bell, Kyle Cuff, Chopper Moore. I think Chopper Moore did enough for himself, or showed enough in the games that he played well, to where he could get paid a lot of money, just given the right opportunity to go to a different team. He showed what he could do. And I mean, he's looking for a big check. Kyle Cuff, I'm sure all these guys are going to be 100,000 and up. And just for where Syracuse is right now with the NIL, all that money, they need all that money, right? Chris Bell, he's another guy he's proven himself. He didn't have the best year, but I'm sure he's a guy who get 300,000-400,000. You need all that money, especially if you're trying to keep guys like Donnie and JJ, who I think will come back. But those two guys, they're probably close to $1 million each. Close to $1 million, and then you got to get 3 transfers, and this is for me. This is what I think you need. I think you need a point guard, you need a center, you need a wing, a guy to replace Chris Bell. You probably need to spend $1 million on each of those 3 positions.
The shooter,
a shooter, a guy who definitely a shooter, but a guy who's versatile. You want a guy who could defend, who could mix it up and rebound as well. But those guys are. Man, those guys are going to cost, right? So you had to clear a little bit of room. So I don't think necessarily it's those guys wanting to leave, right? It could be a little bit of both, but it's more so like, hey, we need to create some space so we could get back to the level that we know Syracuse can be at or wants to be at. The expectations are always here, and we know that when we see your comments, we see the fans count, we know where you want this program to be. So in order to get there with what the landscape is, you have to clear some space. You have to be able to get some money in to be able to get these guys, to play at that level.
And I'm glad that you laid it out that way, because sometimes fans have a disproportionate expectation of loyalty, and they don't understand the business of it, especially the way that it is now. So a lot of time, like what you just described, as far as, the coaches probably coming to them and saying, listen, we need to clear out cap space. They need to think on those terms. Not that the kids was just abandoning the program and, now you should kick them on their way out and talk bad about them. There's no need for that, because it's not accurate. It's not an accurate representation of what actually happened. So, fans, please take that, into consideration before you post all your comments and talk bad about them as they're leaving. But I want to ask you something, Devo, and help me out with this. The transfer portal opens up today, right? March Madness we're in the middle of March Madness. What sense does it make for the transfer portal to open up while March Madness is still going on? And I thought about that same thing before with the football transfer portal, and it opened up before the bowl games was even over. I was like, well, isn't this the timing kind of off to do it right now? That you have coaches moving and you have, players going into the portal now, but the tournament is still going. Help me understand the logic of that kind of timing.
Yeah, I don't think any of this really makes sense. I'm talking about from just how everything is with the NIL. Is there contracts? Is it like who's involved? Like where's the money? It's just the wild west, and we've been talking about that from the very beginning. So I don't. A lot of this doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, you guys they're still playing games. We talked about it earlier. They're still playing games, and guys are for sure getting contacted. Their agents are getting contacted while they're still playing. We talked about Will Wade he announced he's going to North Carolina State before they played their first tournament game.
That's crazy.
I don't care what you tell me, right, wrong, or indifferent. It's going to have some type of effect or distraction on your team, even on you as a coach. Now you're thinking about, oh man, I got to hop in the transfer portal right away if we lose this game and figure out how I'm going to get my team assembled for NC State. You can't even focus and lock in on your tournament game right now. And yes, they upset Clemson, and I think Will Wade is a good coach. I mean, people have different opinions about him, but Will Wade's had NIL before NIL. We all know that at LSU and all those SEC schools have NIL before NIL. Like let's just be real. Like that's been happening, for a long time. But it doesn't make sense to me. E. Just like everything going on. Like you have to. I'd wait till the season's done, and then everyone has to have the same, I guess, advantage as far as like going in the portal and getting these guys, because it's already, a lot of these schools are already at a disadvantage as far as the money goes. We've been talking about Cuse doesn't have as much money as these SEC schools. Like you don't have as much money as Duke or SMU. Like those guys, we're talking about a budget. They don't have a budget. It is no budget. What do you need?
Right.
What type of, so I go ahead.
No, I was listening to, along those lines, listening to Jay Williams talking, and he was saying that the NIL and transfer portal really means the death of mid-majors and how difficult it is for them to be able to really compete with the bigger schools. And I guess I agree with that, but it's just a different route that is going to have to be needed to take now from high school players. So you're going to see a lot of high school players have to go a different route to getting to a bigger, school preferred destination. And now that JUCO players can now have an extra year, and that's the other thing. The NCAA, it's like they're just trying to make corrections as they go along. Like they didn't think this all the way through before implementing everything. And I don't know if it's just because they didn't have a choice but to implement something that they didn't want to implement, or if it was just poor planning. But they make a lot of money, have a lot of people making a lot of money, have a whole board, everything like that. They should have rolled this out a little bit better than they did. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like they could just take, if this is going to really be a mirroring of professional leagues, which was what it is, then you shouldn't have like a no tampering. Like you should have like you can't talk and actively, interview a coach while you're still in season, or you know what I mean? Or these different rules that the NBA has. I mean, they are applicable. It doesn't mean that this takes a big, you have to be a rocket science to be able to understand that there are some rules that need to be put in place in order for this to run smoothly. And it just doesn't seem like the NCAA is doing that.
And they have to be put in place because, like we said, a lot of schools are already at a disadvantage because they don't have the type of budget that these big schools have. So at least try to help these other schools out by putting those rules in place so everybody could be equal as far as that goes. Because the money is always going to, the bigger schools or the bigger markets, just like the NBA. They're always going to have more money. It's always going to be a little bit more attractive. So yeah, I'm with you on that. They have to be able to put those rules in place. And NCAA, for being a multi-billion-dollar corporation, I mean, who is sitting at the top of that? Who is your board? Because man, it's it's I don't know. It seemed like Monopoly games or something because of how it's going. Like nothing. There's no structure. Nothing's intact. Like you're just moving pieces as you go. That's not how you do, especially if you're making that much money, multi-billion dollars. Like, come on, man, have your stuff together. Have your stuff. And we're talking about, and as far as the coaching goes, like the coaching changes, and I'm kind of going down a different path right here. Mm-hmm. But these coaches are going to get younger and more inexperienced because, and this is my perspective, because the players can relate a little bit more to these guys. And these younger coaches are willing to adjust and do what it takes for the NIL. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is. And it's the changing of the guard that we've been talking about. But even like, and I saw a comment in the chat, the coach at West Virginia, he had 1 year. He had 1 year at West Virginia. He's coaching Indiana now. That's just how the game is. You'll never, man, I was trying to get on staff just to be like a player development or a regular coach at some places. Oh no, you don't have enough experience. I'm like, dang. Now you got guys like hopping into a 1 year, never coached in their life. Assistant or the head coach at Florida State, Luke Locks, never coached in his life. He was player development at Sacramento. Head coach at Florida State. Why? Because he can bring in money. He has the connections. He's coming from the NBA. Yep. It's a whole different landscape now.
It is. Let me ask you a quick question before we go to break. All right. Real quick question. Steph Curry, right? He accepted a role as assistant GM at Davidson, right? Could someone like Derek Coleman be that for us, or maybe Melo or someone like assistant GM, and they have that star power to be able to, talk to the donors? Would that be a good idea for us to try to look at as well?
I mean, I think you said it, star power. With Davison bringing in Steph Curry, it brings in star power. People want to be connected to his name, so it's going to benefit. Davison is going to benefit from that. So, yeah, I think maybe you want to bring a guy in who's like relevant, but it not necessarily doesn't have. If people in the program know who he is and he could help the program out, he could bring those donors in. Donors want to, work with him. Definitely, it'll definitely benefit the program. Let's talk about that a little bit more when we come back. Yeah. They're right. Michigan State. No, this guy. This guy was just saying it's not even SEC anymore. It's everywhere as far as like people having unlimited budgets. Magic Johnson said Michigan State will have no. Yeah, it's just how it is. Yeah, someone said Melo would be a great option. Great idea. I think Davison hit it on the head because Steph. Hey, look, Steph, you don't got to come and be here all the time. Or show your face, do a couple events. Let's raise $1 million in that event or whatever it is.
Yep, I agree.
That's thinking outside the box.
Okay.
We can't.
We're just putting ideas out. That's what we do here.
And seriously, I don't know. I'm not gonna say a lot, but especially like in the situation that you're in, as far as like you need to get it done right now. You need to get it done in order for you to keep your job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pulling out everything, man.
I agree. Let's hit on some NCAA stuff when we come back. I definitely want to ask. Everybody's talking about that. It kind of looked like it could have been a travel. It looked close. I don't think he traveled. No, we can talk about it.
I got a question for you guys about NIL.
Go for it.
If you donated money to NIL and you were paying a player and he was the player of the year in the Big East, and your coach sat him for the last 3 minutes of a game you could have won, like, at what point is it going to be like, hey, I'm paying this guy, you better play him, right?
That's fair.
You're a shareholder.
You're a shareholder.
You gotta say.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't question Patino, but like if I was paying if I was paying the payroll, I'm like, why the hell have you not got the best player on the court right now?
Yeah, that's a fair question. I mean, I can't say it's not a fair question.
Honestly, Rick got to understand with this guy. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to. And he's a Hall of Famer, so he could pull a stunt like that.
I mean, does he lose? What's the man's name?
Michael Rowley. The player Luis Jr. The player is Luis Jr. Yeah, Luis Jr. Yeah.
Luis Jr. That's his name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. What's his first name, Paulie?
Oh, why can't I think of it? Hold, please.
And he was benched for like the final.
I mean, he had a bad game, but it's the.
There we go.
RJ Luis. Oh, did you see? And that's a good. I like Bill COL 95. What are your thoughts on Fran's 40% rule? Did you hear about that, E?
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think he's setting his guys. Yeah.
I think that's what it's all about. That's great. I wish more programs would something like that.
Yeah, man. Listen, all coaches in the programs take a page out of Fran's book, man. Just to be honest, like how he's marketing and how he's approaching things. Like, man, look, regardless if it works out or not, I know you busting your butt to try to make it happen.
Yeah. We can talk about that.
And all the yeah.
Let's see how many we can get through, because that's a lot of stuff I want to touch on. Let's try to touch it on quick. You know what I mean? I want to try to hit all.
Yeah, we could talk about that.
Yeah.
The tournament right here.
Yeah, cool. Let's do it.
Michigan, Auburn, Duke and Arizona.
444 South State Street, Syracuse, or visit williammatar.com.
ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. This is the Etan and Devo Show. Here are former Syracuse standouts Etan Thomas and Eric Diebendorf.
Welcome back, everyone. 3 of my 4 teams are still intact for my Final Four pick. All right, three of my 4 teams. Yes, so Florida, Duke, and I believe Houston. Houston's in. Houston's still in.
Yeah.
Yep. So 3 of my 4, and then St. John's let me down. They had nobody who could hit a jump shot. So
let's go through it though. First of all, did you see your favorite coach have a complete meltdown after they lost? Not
my favorite coach, but yes.
It's interesting because I'm watching him. We were talking about Dan Hurley, and throughout this season, there was a difference with him. Like I didn't see this last season. I saw passion on the sideline and everything like that, and do extra with his players and all that, and those were all cool. But this year, there's just been a whole different mood with him, like a whole different vibe. But anyway, let me know what you thought. He said some choice words after the game, about the refs kind of, not being fair to him. Just tell me what your thoughts were.
Well, that's been the whole story the whole season. Every single game he's been complaining about the refs. And you're right. It's a whole different feel. Like, I get it. You've won back-to-back national championships. You earned that. Like, you're a heck of a coach, right? I understand that. But it just takes away from all the accolades and accomplishment when you act like this. And what I was saying, stop acting like a player. You're the coach. You acting like you on the court talking trash like you're a player. You're a coach, and set that standard for your players, right? And again, I like the passion. I like the competitiveness. I like all of that. But now it seems to me like you're just whining. You're just whining every single time you going out of the huddle. You're talking to the other teams, coaches. They probably looking at, man, come on, man. It's a clown show. How you carrying yourself, man? You've put yourself in the spotlight because you won 2 national championships. This year, you put yourself in the spotlight because you acting like a baby. Yeah. And that's just, you don't walk out the tunnel and be like, man, I hope they don't effing do this to you, Baylor. I hope they don't effing do this to you. At some point, man, just take some accountability. Like, hey, you guys played a heck of a game. We didn't execute. We turned the ball over. We missed some shots. Like, lose with some grace. And I get it's like emotions are involved. A lot of stuff is involved. But you're a grown man. You got to be accountable. Like, I could expect that from players more so than the head coach. Mm-hmm. And I just don't. I felt a lot of entitlement from him this year.
Hey, I hear you. I would say that, Coach Hurley, you're better than this. You're better than how you've been acting, and you are, you put yourself in this upper echelon of coaches. People that are, reached that certain level don't have to scream it from the mountaintops. They don't have to. The people, your work, your body of work shows, how good of a coach that you are. So you don't have to do that. So I would definitely say, you're hurting your own brand. You were just up for the Lakers job. So you're better than this. That's basically what I want to say about that. So let me ask you this: the Maryland game last night, freshman phenom Derek Queen, with the heroics at the end. Now the discussion, it was amazing. It is amazing for a freshman, to put the ball in the freshman's hand for the season, to have that confidence to be able to do that, and then for him to deliver is absolutely amazing. Now, the conversation today has been, was that a travel? It's tough.
No.
You know, it was close. I'm not going to say like it wasn't even close, but I don't necessarily think it was a travel. I thought he took two dribbles and did a gather step and then went up. But that's what I saw. You know, but you could imagine if the ref had said no basket travel, you know, after everybody's jumped up, that would have been horrible. But what do you think? You think it was a travel or not?
No travel. It was a great play, and you got to shout out the coach at Maryland, Kevin. What's it, Willard? Kevin Willard. And because he had some stuff going on before in the media, before the game, even talking about his AD going to SMU, all that, and that's a whole nother thing. So he put a lot of pressure on himself already, right? And I think he has some leverage because nobody says that type of stuff without some leverage. He has some leverage somewhere. Villanova, I don't know what it is, all right, but he has some leverage. But I mean, if you, I'm sure you watched the interview after the game and what Queen was saying, and then what the coach was saying. He basically was in the huddle in the timeout. Who wants the ball? Like he put it in his players' hands. I love that from a coach. I love coach giving his players confidence. And then the freshman steps up and give me the effing ball. Give me like I want this ball, like make or whatever it is. I want this pressure on me. And that just goes to show you what type of player he is, what type of mindset he has. He's gonna have a long career just because he's a guy who's competitive. He competes. He's super skilled. Obviously, at that size, you don't see that at that size a whole lot more so now than you did. But no travel. It wasn't a travel. I thought great play for him to come off that zipper to the top and get him at the top of the key. He had the space, and then right when he caught the ball, he just ripped through to that left, and then it was same hand, same foot, going backboard like with the guy in his face. And yeah, even if it wasn't travel, I'm not calling that. Right. That kid made a hell of a play to be able to just get himself in that situation for the shot. And then again, shout out to the coach for giving his players that confidence. But I mean, this is this kid's last tournament, right? He's not coming back to school. He's I believe a top 10, top 15 NBA draft prospect. So, but yeah, and then I loved his interview after. They asked him. What gave him the confidence? He said, "Well, I guess I'm from Baltimore. You know, like for that's how you built. And we know you Baltimore tough. We know those guys who players who come out of Baltimore. They got that edge to them. But it was just awesome to see a young kid at that moment take advantage of it, and to be able to talk about it after and say what he said. What a moment for that.
I agree 100%. Let me ask you another question. RJ Lewis was benched at the end of the game at St. John's, and a lot of St. John's fans were wondering, like, what is going on? Why would you bench your star player? Like, and Rick Pitino had a little back and forth with one of the reporters, and it was a setup question. That's how reporters do. They set it up, and he was like, I'm not going to talk bad about my player, but you know why he wasn't playing, and it was. I don't know. You know what I mean? Do you keep going with your guy that got you there, even though he's struggling, or do you take him out and sit him? What were your thoughts on that?
There's only a few guys in college basketball who could even get away with that and do that. Rick Pitino, Tom Izzo, probably like a Bill Self. Like, not anyone can do that and expect to have a job. Honestly, you know what I mean? Like Rick Pitino's a guy who he could get away with that. And for me, I thought it was the wrong move. Like my best player in that situation, this is our last game possibly of the year, the NCAA tournament. I got to ride or die with my guy, regardless. I don't care if you 1 for 20, because you could be 2 for 21, and that could be the game winner, right? And I know he was struggling the whole game. He was like 3 of 19 or wherever it was. He was taking bad shots. Man, I'm taking him out or the timeout. Hey, look. Get your head on. We need you. You're our best player. You're the Big East Player of the Year, consensus All-American, whatever it is. I just got to let them know, like, settle down, and then I'm putting them back in the game. Yeah, that's your best player. And that's not the time to prove a point. And again, I'm not. Look, Rick Pitino, man, I think he's one of the greatest ever, regardless of college, NBA, whatever it is. Like, this man's proven it over and over with different teams, different programs. But that was a bad look right there.
All right.
That was a bad look.
Hard to disagree with that. All right, let me go one more question before we go to break. Kelvin Sampson. after the game when they beat Gonzaga, he was really consoling the Gonzaga player, and it was emotional. One of the things that March Madness does a lot of times is they zoom in on the camera with players getting emotional, and I wasn't really always a fan of that, but that's what they do. And the kid broke down, and you see this image of Calvin Sampson just consoling him, and you can see him talking to him and telling him to pick his head up, and you're gonna be okay, and you played a great game. It's those kind of moments that really make March Madness special. And Kelvin Sampson, he recruited me coming out of high school, and he was an OU. So, I have a lot of respect for him and what he's accomplished now. But yeah, I just thought that was a great image and a great image to show of college basketball, because you see a lot of negative things. That was a good one to show.
And we go back to when we were talking about Hubert Davis, with Coach Davis, what he did with Withers, and after the free throw line violation, same type of thing. With Coach Sampson, and those guys are high character guys. They're not just unbelievable coaches; they're just high character people. They're good human beings. Like we all understand in this game of basketball, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to win, you're going to lose, things are going to happen. But at the end of the day, man, we're all human beings. And we all have feelings, we all have emotions. And I think one thing, and before we go to break, one thing that fans may not understand is all the things that people went through, the players went through, the coaches went through, leading up to that moment to get there. So you put all blood, sweat, and tears to get to this moment. And then when, you're not victorious or it doesn't happen, man, it's a lot of emotions that are going through you. I mean, I've had a few times where I cried when we were playing basketball game, and it's not even about that specific moment. It's just about everything that you did going into that moment, everything you put into it, all the sacrifices. So those coaches understand that. And when they go over to console those guys, especially when it's on the opposite team, it just says a lot about him as a human being.
I agree. Definitely agree.
So let's go to break, and we'll come right back.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
The culture in.
All right, good stuff.
Oh, was that Titus Battles, brother?
NCAA game.
No gather step in
it. Yeah, there was no gather step, so that was definitely a travel.
You think so?
Yeah, they wouldn't call it, but it was definitely a travel.
Was it? I thought it was 1, 2. Like he put the ball on the ground and 1, 2, and then it was the same hand, same foot. So it's not like he took the extra step. It was right hand, right foot.
Nah, I think he traveled.
He said nah. Paul said nah.
I mean, we can do it. It's so many travels that don't get called during the game. I tell you what, it's hard to be a ref.
Yeah,
it is hard to be, especially in that St. John's, Arkansas game. It's a physical game, man. That was like an old Big East
if
game.
Someone called the travel on that, though. Get the hell out. Like the end of the Pitt game in the ACC tournament, you just got to swallow your whistle.
Yeah, right? You can't call that. You can't call that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
can't call it. You messing up the whole game. Now you became the player of the game as a referee.
Exactly. Exactly.
You can't. You just can't do that. Yeah, you swallow your whistle on that one, honestly. Yeah, Queen and Melo both from B More for sure. I think Queen played on Melo's AAU team, if I wasn't mistaken.
No, he played for Thrill. He played for Katie's brothers.
Oh, Team Thrill. So is that Will? Will from Baltimore too. He played for the Nuggets for a while.
I think
Will Barton.
Will Barton, yeah. He does the All-Star event, the event in Baltimore too. Yep.
And he's from Baltimore.
They're from Baltimore. Yeah, they're all Baltimore cats.
Yeah, he's from Baltimore. I like that. Yeah, I don't know if you want to touch more on talking about the Melo thing about being GM. Somebody, they thought that was a great idea. Walk, yeah.
I got to give the women some little bit of air.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, we do that, but then we come back to it though. But I think it's a great idea. I think Melo or DC would be a great idea. You know what I mean? Not me myself, but yeah, either one.
It's just a way to go about it too. Like, you don't have to be there. You know, if when we have these events, that's all it is. He's assistant GM. Basically, it's just like, hey, come and show up to this fundraiser when we have it and help us raise money.
That's all.
Yeah, that's all it is.
In that case, everybody should be GM.
No, you don't need everybody. Just one key person, like a Derek Coleman.
Who's everybody, Paulie?
Like, if I got somebody who's donating money and Eric Devendorf's their favorite player, I'd be like, come meet our new GM, Eric Devendorf.
It's a little bit different. when you're talking about Steph Curry and Melo, that's a whole different level, man. Like this is international.
I get that. That'll get you money from outside sources.
And that's the whole idea of it.
Yeah.
It was a smart move by Davidson. They need it. They're one of the teams who they're trying to figure out, man, how could we get up with this NIL stuff? All right, Steph, hey, we need you, man. Like, you already support our program, but we need you a little bit more.
Yep. We'll hit all
donate money.
No. Yeah, we'll hit all three.
And Melo's doing the CBS now, if I'm not mistaken. I think. Did you see that, Paulie?
NBC.
So is he like the face of it, or what is it?
He's just on one of their shows, pregame, I think. I don't know. I have to look it up.
Man, it'll be cool.
Studio. He's a studio guy.
Okay. He's a studio guy. DC not in good standing.
Your former Syracuse standouts, Etan Thomas and Eric Devendorf.
Good point.
You're up.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We want to make sure we showing the women some love, too. We know it's NCAA tournament going on for both men's and women. I know there was a poll that came out recently, a top 10 all-time women's college basketball players of all time. You want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, it was interesting. So, I'll run it down real quick. They had Brianna Stewart 1, Caitlin Clark 2, Diana Taurasi 3, Cheryl Miller 4, Shamiko Holsclaw 5, Maya Moore 6, Brittany Griner 7, Candace Parker 8, Asia Wilson 9, and they rounded it out with Livette Woodard 10. Now, I don't know about this list. And, sometimes lists are kind of hard. I will say that. But you tell me this, though. Shamiko Holsclaw was a three-peat champion and had a perfect season. It was named Player of the Century, and she's number 5. That's a little tough for me. You know what I mean? Caitlin Clark didn't win anything, and she's number 2. She didn't win anything. Yeah. Great player. Fantastic. Drew the eyeballs, everything like that. Everybody was excited about her, but she did not win. So you tell me, how can you justify the rankings that Fox Sports did?
Yeah, well, what are they looking at? What are the guidelines, I guess? Is it the resume? Is it the individual talent, the individual skill? How many games you won? How many champions? Because, if you're going by resume, you look at Brianna Stewart, who is a local from QCNS Cicero, so shout out to Brianna Stewart. It was 4 national championships, 4 MVPs, 4 Final Four MVPs in a row. That's never been done. So, and then she goes on to get Rookie of the Year in the WNBA, and she has I think multiple WNBA championships with Finals MVPs. So, if you're looking at it from that standpoint, she's not far off from number 1. You talk about Caitlin Clark, yeah. If we're going from that, she moves way down. Because she does no national championship, and she got there, but she didn't win anything. I like Diana Taurasi, Cheryl Miller, Shamiko Holsclaw. All these women right here were unbelievable players. Whereas, I guess Juju Watkins, you don't put her in there yet. But if if I'm changing the perspectives and going to an individual talent, she's top 3. If you're talking like that, but as far as like a resume, I'm not mad at Brianna Stewart being number 1. Caitlin Clark, she has to get up out of there. Cheryl Miller, you'd know more about her than me as far as her resume goes. But I remember Shamiko Holsclaw and all those Tennessee teams. Man,
Candace Parker.
yeah, Candace Parker. Those 10. I mean, back then when I was watching it, like it was either Tennessee or UConn,
Right.
in women's college basketball. Now, obviously, it's definitely changed. The whole landscape of college sports has changed, obviously, with everything going on. But yeah, Shamika Holtzclaw. I mean, Candace Parker. You talk. I mean, I'm even going back even when we were Connecticut. Rebecca Lobo. You know, like I forget Sue Bird. You know, those teams were undefeated every year, I felt like. And not only were they undefeated, they were winning every game by like 20, 30 points.
Yeah.
So,
I'd have to see what their criteria was. That was an interesting list. It was an interesting list. Let me ask you this. So look, you know, speaking of UConn, and they beat somebody by 60 or something crazy. I was watching. Why doesn't Paige Buchers get the same level of love and appreciation and everything like that Caitlin Clark got? Why? What is your thought on that? What's your theory?
And man, it's probably so many different factors that come into play, off the court stuff, you know, and we won't even get into all that. You know what I mean? But it's just
get into it. I genuinely want to know, because I've thought about this when I was watching her play. I was like, why is she talked about more?
And I don't know if it's because she identifies as a lesbian or bisexual or whatever it is. I don't know if that has anything to play, because I mean, I guess honestly, a lot of the women in you know, WNBA are probably identify as that. Just to be honest. So, but if we're talking about straight up like basketball, being a great basketball player, not about marketability and all that stuff. Man, she's up there. She had her jersey retired before she even done playing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, 3,000 points in her career, coming back off a torn ACL, and then still continuing her play like that. I mean, she's one of the all-time greats as well. And it's just funny how the goalpost moves for certain players or whatever. And maybe, you know, I'm wrong with Paige. Maybe that's not it. But I mean, we talk about this with Caitlin. We talk about this with Juju. It's more so like, yes, they're all great players, but then it comes down to like, all right, how marketable are you? Like, are you always smiling? Are you more so like a villain? We want to paint you as a villain, Asia Wilson or excuse me, Angel Reese. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like they don't give I don't know if they give themselves that identity, but the media does. They paint them like that by, I guess, how they act or how they carry themselves, and they just kind of give them that title. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the media kind of decides what they want a player's persona to be, and it's kind of regardless of how they act. Because, you know, I'll see, you know, Caitlin Clark, you know, whining. So you saw the one thing with her dad was like, stop whining and play ball. Like, I thought that was great. That video clip of him saying that from the stands. But yeah, I don't know. When they make one a villain and one not a villain, you know, marketability, we just talk about the smiling. You know, Juju don't really smile a lot, but she just goes out there and balls. You know what I mean? Like, she just balls out. I don't know, but it is interesting. It is definitely interesting. So I'm asking you one more thing, because I was watching the game Saturday, the USC game Saturday. So I'm just talking about Juju, and during the live broadcast of the game, they're playing UNC Greensboro. Okay, ESPN commentator Holly Rowe, right? She said live on air. Now this is during the game. She said, I went to a USC game last year and I thought it was the BET Awards. And so I heard it. I was like, no, she didn't just say that. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, let me go check social media. Maybe I heard wrong. And I heard a whole lot of people who was like, you know, wait, what did she just say? Why would she say that? Like, why would that be the analogy that she uses? What was she trying to convey with that? Help me out.
I guess she was trying to say there's a lot of black people around. That's basically. That's basically what she. I mean, if I
only example she could give, say it was the BET Awards for a lot of black people.
Man, and I'm just gonna say this: she was tripping. Seriously, man. Like, what do you do for a veteran sideline reporter to say that you've been in the women's game for a long, long time, and mind you, got a lot of support, especially all the stuff she's went through with her health issues and all that. Like, the game has gave you a lot of support, so. For her to say that, and the support on both sides, black, white, whatever it is, like so for her to say that, it's like, confusing and like, oh, you made a big mistake. Honestly, why would you? I don't even understand what were you insinuating? Like, we know what you were insinuating. Like, man, this looks like a hip hop convention. Basically, that's what you was saying. Man, when the thoughts in your head come out through your mouth, sometimes you just got to be able to fall back and let that one stay right in here, because that was, man, I don't know. The producers were probably in his ear like, Holly, probably shouldn't have said that.
Goodness gracious.
I mean,
Lord,
that was, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I know we got to go to break, and I do want to come back and I want to talk about this idea. I see a lot of people in the chat, kind of liked our idea about having an assistant GM be somebody like a, Carmelo Anthony or Derek Coleman. I think it was a great idea, but let's talk about that more when we come back.
Hey, this is former Syracuse basketball player Etan Thomas.
Last season,
we rolling through topics today.
Paulie, did you hear that? What Holly Rose said?
And I'm former Syracuse basketball player Eric
Devendorf. Paulie, Paulie on break.
She said, "Oh, they like people around looking like the BET Awards." Good Lord, lady.
No, we were saying that. Did you hear what Holly Rose said?
No, it was during the USC game.
You tell me what she said. What he said.
No, I heard you guys talking about it. That's just crazy.
She could have used a million other analogies. She could have said a million other things. BET Awards.
Was she trying to be funny?
No.
Yeah, that was great.
Didn't sound like that was funny. She was just commenting, and she was saying that there was, lady, that's not it. No, but I want to try to flesh out this idea a little bit with the with somebody like Melo being assistant GM. I mean, because a lot of times we're talking about, what Syracuse can do to raise some of this NIL money and to get people involved. I think that would be a great idea. Now, if you heard it here first, somebody's gonna have to credit us with this if they implement this. You know what I mean? But no, I think that's a good idea. I think we're onto something.
We actually just trying to help, just to be honest, give you ideas outside the box, because we need it. First of all, we really need it, and then you can take credit for it. We don't want the credit. We just say, hey, we appreciate your help. That's all we need. Cool. Tune into every Monday, 11 to 12. That's all we need. We're not worried about anything else. We trying to, as former alum, trying to help the program get to where it needs to get back to.
Yeah. Hey, Paulie, how long we gonna have when we come back?
About 5 minutes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's flush this out. We might be on
that's
something.
Cool. Yes, Orange Man Forever said, "Do I renew my season tickets next year?" That's up to you, man.
No, don't say it's up to you. I think you should, man. It's gonna be a good year next year.
You can't just blindly say yes. Wait and see what the roster looks like. Come on, Etan. You can't just blindly say yes.
Hey,
it's
man,
up to him.
let's see what happens in the portal. Let's see who we got, and then we'll just decide.
Check the roster. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's better. But we
appreciate you guys. Yeah, we got to do something. Thank you to you guys in the chat for the congratulations. I appreciate you. Appreciate y'all, man. I just know I'm gonna have my guy ready.
Ready?
I don't know what's going to be going on in 17 years, but man, if NIL still like that, man, listen, son, I'm your agent.
I'm your agent. Yes,
I've dealt with this. We'll be all right. We got it.
Yeah.
Just don't call me, Eric. Don't call me if I say anything bad on the radio.
I'm not gonna call you. I'm gonna pull up on you.
Pull up. Come on out here, Paulie.
Yeah. And matter of fact, I can find you. I got the key card. I can get right in there. Boop.
That's funny.
X1 X-Drive 28i at Verdict BMW for
okay, so Orangeman Forever. He asked that because he's from Maryland, and he comes from Maryland, and they make the drive.
Oh,
hell yeah!
That's a good little drive.
Get those. Yeah, that's a good little drive. Get those tickets, man. If you, Die Hard's gonna get those tickets. We just gonna be optimistic about what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that idea. Get Melo in there.
Sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. This is the Etan and Devo Show. Here are former Syracuse standouts Etan Thomas and Eric Devendorf.
We got about 5 minutes left before the end of the show, and let's just continue to talk about what we were talking about as far as Melo and DC being assistant GM. We know Steph Curry is assistant GM at Davis, and we know, look, they're not going to be there on campus. They're not. It's just more so for the name and bringing people to the program, helping out with raising money. I think it's a great idea what Davison did, and I thought it was a great idea. You brought it up, having either Melo or just a guy with a recognizable name that's connected to the program to help raise some money in the NIL.
I mean, I think it's a great idea. I think we should get on that immediately, to be honest with you. I mean, you have a player like Melo or Derek Coleman, and, who is passionate about the program, wants to see the program do well. DC has been, definitely critical about how things are going but that's because of how much passion he has, how much pride he has, in Syracuse product being what it's supposed to be. And so they would be the perfect ambassadors, for that, or assistant GMs. You have different events. They could, and you think Derek Coleman wouldn't want to come to an event to try to help with land some big players or things like that, get the NIL up. Listen, we've been talking about it. You've been talking about it in particular. We have to be able to compete with other schools in this NIL game, or we're going to be in the same position next year. So we have to do something. So honestly, I think this is something they should implement like tomorrow. You know what I mean? They should be on the phone with Melo and DC, seeing if they both want to be assistant GMs and try to help turn this thing around.
Yeah, because there's no rules. I mean, look, why not try to pull everything out, right? As far as how we're trying to raise money and get people involved, they should be reaching out to all the alum anyway. Just to, hey, man, we want your support. This is how college basketball is now. You're part of the program, your family, whatnot. We need your support. And I'm not saying they haven't done that. Maybe they have, but it needs to be in a greater way, I guess. You have to get guys back where they feel like they're a part of this. That's what, and that's what, like, guys like me, I know Tom Izzo is so great at that, man. And it's a change of guard, right? You're going from Boeheim and Coach Autry, and Coach Autry has been a part of the program, so you want to try to continue that some way. But like Coach Izzo has his, man, those guys are up there all the time. They want to come back. And it just goes to show you what type of family and culture that he's built. And now, Boeheim handed over to Red. You just want to try to continue that. And I think this is a great way to really start a spark, or like Melo's assistant GM, DC's assistant GM, John Wallace, whoever it is. Like, again, there's no rules to this. Let's try to figure out how we can raise a lot of money, because just between those three guys, I guarantee you they know some people. I guarantee you they know some people who want to help raise money and help the program out, even if they didn't go to Syracuse. I just want to help out Syracuse because John Wallace is my guy. Or because Carmelo is my guy, or DC is my guy. Like, it can't be. And another thing too, it can't be like, man, I did this. This was my idea. Man, nobody cares about that. Who's getting the credit? We're trying to help build this program back up to where it needs to be. Need all hands on deck. Need all hands on deck. The credit goes wherever it goes to. That's cool. It doesn't matter as long as the program is getting back to where it needs to be. Like, that's the whole mindset and approach. And tell me if I'm wrong. If anything great needs to get done, that's what the mindset should be anyway. I need everybody all in to help out. It doesn't matter who gets the credit, because we're all going to benefit. Right. We're all, like, these coaches, they will eventually want to be head coaches. When you win, that's what you're going to get for a better job. I don't care what type of, who gets the credit. Like, you're going to be up for a better job because this program is going in the right direction. So I thought that was a great idea, bringing one of those guys on deck and just trying to get some momentum built up, to raise money and to get some more excitement into this program. And you could already feel it with Cayenne coming in, right? So it only makes sense to be like, hey, Melo, your son's coming in. We'd love for you to come on board as well. In whatever type of capacity you want to come on, that's your choice. Like, that's how do you want to do it? That's how you put the ball in their court.
I agree. Hope they listen to you. I agree. Like I said, they should be making that call tomorrow. Make it today after the show is over. Go ahead. Whoever needs to make the call, make the call.
And Paulie, you need to go ahead and record this, edit, cut, whatever you need to do. And then, and we don't even need you to do the DVD. We need you to do VHS, if you could do VHS, and then put it in the envelope and then go hand deliver that up to the Mello Center, just so we could get that idea to him.
10 seconds.
But no, look, I thought it was a great idea. And again, shout out to everybody for tuning in 11 to 12 Monday. Our time is up, but we appreciate you guys tuning in. And hopefully they listen to us. I think we got some great ideas, man. And we're going to have some more for you guys next week. Make sure you guys tune in next Monday, 11 to 12. We'll be here.
Kelsey Wise got